Hi, I'm Jess Larson and welcome back to Plays Well with Butter. Today we're going to be making my damn good lentil soup, and I'm the first to admit when you think of lentil soup you might not think, oh that's damn good, but this lentil soup recipe is damn good in every way. It is absolutely filled with good for you veggies, you get plenty of plant-based protein from lentils, and it's the kind of cozy, warming soup that you want on any cold winter day. I'm absolutely smitten with this recipe and I know you're gonna love it just as much as I do. So the really special thing about this soup is it is absolutely loaded with veggies. We have our mirepoix veggies, which are celery, carrots, and onion, of course, the base of any good soup or stew, if you ask me. But I also threw in some butternut squash, which is my favorite winter squash. You could easily use any hearty winter squash or even sweet potatoes if you don't have butternut on hand. And we're gonna amp up those greens by throwing in some hearty kale as well. So the thing with this lentil soup is because it is so filled with veggies, you're gonna need to chop quite a bit. This is the kind of dish that is great to make on a slow Sunday afternoon in the winter when you just want a bowl of comfort food for dinner. But you could also meal prep these veggies, chop your mirepoix, chop your butternut squash in advance, and at dinner time all you have to do is get it on the stove and get it cooking, and it's really as easy as that. To add some extra nutrients, I like to throw in greens into this lentil soup, and my favorite hearty green for soup season is kale. Kale has this really large fibrous stem that runs right down the center of the leaf, and that's not the most pleasant to eat. So we want to take that stem out and really finely chop the leaves. So to de-stem, just run your fingers along the stem of the kale and pull the leaf behind. If you have pups, they might go crazy for kale stems. My dogs love kale stems. And once you have a good pile of the leaves built up, you're gonna stack them up really nicely. We're gonna roll them into a bunch, like so. We're gonna take our sharp chef's knife and cut it into really fine shredded kale. Now, if you've never had lentils and you're wondering what they look exactly like this. Lentils are a legume, and you can typically find them in the grocery store next to rices and grains or in the bulk bins. So like any soup or stew, the first thing we're going to do is saute our mirepoix. Mirepoix is equal part onions, carrots, and celery. I am actually a lifelong celery hater. I don't love it, so I always double up on the carrots and scale back on the celery. If you want to be flexible with the recipe like that, you definitely can. We're just gonna season with a little bit of salt. This is realistically a step that takes 6 to 8 minutes, and it can't really be rushed. So our mirepoix veggies are nice and softened and fragrant, and as I stir, I can start to see brown bits forming on the bottom of the pan, which is always a good sign. At this point, we're gonna add in our aromatics. I have a ton of freshly chopped garlic and our lentil soup spices. Now, a lot of lentil soup recipes call for using curry spice. I love curry spice, but I don't love it in lentil soup. So this is a little spice blend I came up with. It is made with a lot of ground cumin, a lot of paprika. It has a little bit of turmeric for earthiness and a little bit of cayenne pepper for an extra kick of heat. Whenever I make soup, I always also make sure to throw in a couple of bay leaves for their herbaceous flavor. And we're just going to add these right into the pot. And whenever you're cooking with spices like this, you want to stir them in and give them a minute to bloom over the heat. They'll start to smell really fragrant, really beautiful, and you'll know that they're kind of starting to do their thing as well. So at this point, our spices have bloomed and we can begin building the soup. Here I have some diced butternut squash. This is about half of a medium squash or one small squash. I've got crushed tomatoes, which add this really beautiful like velvety texture to the soup. I'm also using some fire roasted diced tomatoes for a little bit more hearty texture. We have our star ingredient, the lentils, which I have just rinsed and drained really well. And from here, we're just gonna add in our veggie stock. You'll need about 8 cups for this recipe. From here, we'll just give this a nice stir. And you always want to be thinking in terms of seasoning every single layer you sort of develop. So we already seasoned that mirepoix layer, but we're going to season again since we just added a bunch of liquid, just to make sure those lentils are full flavored and we can really taste them. And we'll let it simmer for about 25 or 30 minutes until the lentils are as firm or as tender as you like them. All right, so our soup has been simmering for about 30 minutes. The kitchen smells absolutely heavenly at this point. And what you want to do is check to make sure your lentils are cooked to your desired level of doneness. And that is perfect for me. I like my lentils a little bit firm, so they're not totally soft and mushy, but they still definitely are tender all the way through. And what we're gonna do at this point, which is a totally optional step, but we're gonna blend some of this soup up. And since this is a vegan soup, blending that squash is a really nice way to add creaminess without adding any dairy. Before we do that though, we have to fish out those bay leaves because we definitely don't want dried bay leaf blended up into our soup. And I just pulsed the blender a few times to start to break down the lentils and the squash, but not puree them completely, which you can do if that's how you like your lentil soup, but I like a little bit of hearty texture that you get from those identifiable pieces of squash and veggies. And our last couple of finishing touches, we have some freshly squeezed lemon juice. The acidity of the lemon really wakes up those spices and brightens up the flavor of the soup. I think it's like taking a sip of winter sunshine. It's my favorite thing. And then the last thing we're going to do is add in our shredded kale. We're gonna let this simmer for another 2 to 3 minutes just to soften up that kale a little bit, and then our lentil soup will be ready to serve. And from here, the only thing left to do is portion the lentil soup into your favorite soup bowls. Finish it with a little sprinkling of freshly chopped parsley and a good glug of extra virgin olive oil. It is absolutely perfect and it is so damn good. The lemon is really the underrated superstar ingredient here. It wakes up all of that rich flavor from the spices that we added and makes this warm bowl super bright, warm, cozy, plant-powered, feel good. You're gonna be obsessed with this one. I hope you make my damn good lentil soup soon. Share it with the people you love, and be sure to like and subscribe for more easy yet flavor-filled weeknight dinners.